Welcome to Champagne Sunday. I'm Lauren.
Hey, I'm Bonnie.
I'm Beth.
And we're going to talk about life
After divorce.
And living
The best life.
and the life you love.
Yes, living the life you love on that other side.
Cheers.
Cheers. Welcome.
Okay, ladies, so today we're going to talk about what does it mean to give ourselves space. So I was just sort of talking to you guys about the fact that I have been doing like a ton of shows this summer, and I've had no time for anything. Like my work-life balance has been terrible. And today was the first day that I like stopped and like went through my to-do list of things I need to do, and I didn't really book anything for the rest of the next few days to just make sure that I could accomplish the things I needed to do for me. And when we're running around like crazy trying to get things, our work done, it doesn't always happen. But right now, because I guess the big priorities are off my checklist, I'm able to go, okay, and now what do I need to do to I don't care if I said this, but my boyfriend said, what are you doing to take care of your future self a couple of weeks ago? And I was like, that's such a good thing. And that's what I felt like I was doing all day today, is like checking little boxes to take care of tomorrow, Lauren. Like, what did today Lauren do to take care of tomorrow, Lauren? So that, but this is the first day I've like had that time and space to accomplish those things. And looking at this next year and this year of commitment, I know my commitments exactly as they're laid out. And coming off this first year of divorce where I was overcommitted, and it was the first year of being a single mom and having my kid, now I'm like, okay, that was too much. I committed to too many things. And now, clean slate, it's just work right now that I have commitments for. And I don't think I'm going to add anything else to that and allow myself that space and freedom to have these moments of like, coming home at night, which I don't normally get to do. I mean, today was my first day that I haven't had an evening rehearsal or last week, I guess, but I had camp all week. But like just having the idea that I can come home at night tonight was so nice. So now that I sort of know what it feels like to have him and to have my schedule that I typically have, I'm like, no, that's not taking care of me or of him. So I see it now, and I'm gonna just keep it as is and not add anything else and just see how it makes me feel.
I think that's important. Remember in my first year after divorce, I didn't really give myself a whole lot of space because you hadn't had it planned for. You
Right.
go from two people being kind of in the home and you have your own little routine, and then you kind of have to figure it out and let the dust settle to see what you end up with, because your work commitment, it's your work, but it fluctuates a little bit. Yours fluctuates with the number of shows. Mine fluctuates with where I'm going and how many patients I have. Bonnie, yours fluctuates with who needs assistance and if you have a new program and getting everybody on board and getting all the schools signed up and stuff. I mean, you have more than that, but
Yeah, it just depends. It's a seasonal.
Your jobs are going to have a little bit of a variable, but as you're trying to fit in motherhood and your job and yourself, that's a lot to put in. And I think that first year after divorce, it's very confusing to a lot of people, and a lot of people, including myself, try to stay at that same busy energy level, which now I'm learning to rest, and I'm giving myself permission to have more downtime. I don't know if I shared with you, it came across, how you get Facebook memories. I had this picture, and I was still at my old house, and I think it was 2018, so it was a full year and a little more after my divorce, and that's when I started my morning routine. Like, I would jump out of bed, my feet would start, and I would just boom, 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 my list. So that picture reminded me, that's when I started having a morning coffee before anybody got up. I got up extra 35 minutes early had my coffee ready. I went out, and this picture is on my porch with my coffee cup. And that's when I made a conscious decision to have that time to give myself space to think. What do I really want to, what am I doing? What am I trying to accomplish instead of just spinning my wheels? Just, have a list of things that are important.
That's what I did first thing this morning. I slept in. I slept in because I needed to. But then as soon as I got up, I was like, okay, I got to do A, B, and C today, or I'm not going to be ready to leave to go to town on Thursday. But I know I can't do, D, E, and F today, but I'll do D, E, and F tomorrow. So I kind of made like a little checklist of what has to happen in the next 3 days for me to be successful for next week. And then, what was I going to say? Going back to what you were saying, when you get divorced and you have children, if you've never been single with children, I mean, most of us get married, we have children, and then if we get divorced, we've only known life single or married, and then married with children. We've never known life single with children.
Right.
And that's a new learning.
It's a big
It's
adjustment.
a brand new learning. It's a different motherhood. It is different motherhood than so. And there are parts of it that I really love. Like my sister and I were talking about it last night. That it's because she was sort of asking like, or no, I was talking to someone about like when you include your partner with your child and like how to navigate that. And I said, but you know what? I really like doing things with my son alone. It's fun to just do things me and him. So I'm kind of selfish about it in a way. Like, and I don't want to give that up too soon,
No, they grow up too fast anyway. Yeah. But it's an adjustment, and there are parts of it that are lovely. And then there are parts of it that are not so great. I feel like I always have to be the heavy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? I have to set the rules, and I have to set the boundaries, and I have to enforce them, because I don't have somebody to say, hey, your father's going to be home and we'll let him take, you know what I'm saying? You don't have that.
Yeah.
The other person to say, this is, what we're going to do. That's the part that I struggle with too. Trying to be everything. And I think society has told us, oh, you're a woman. You can do everything. You should be good at everything. I mean, you should look like Barbie, and you should make money like a CEO, and you should be able to go to the grocery store and cook a gourmet meal, and you should be able to do this, 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 and this. And in reality, when you get divorced, even if it is the best thing for you and your kids, you have a trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Your kid has a trauma. You're both in recovery mode, and you're trying to sort out daily schedules and work and extra school activities and church and everything else. And that first year, it's sort of like when you have a baby. You just go with the flow on the first year, and hopefully you get some rest, and hopefully everything works out and the kid feeds on the schedule, and then you kind of get into a groove together. But that's kind of what it is the first year after you get divorced.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like the second year, I could actually breathe.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I wrote that in my journal. I can breathe. I feel like I can exhale now, because like I kind of get the broad picture of how my house is going to run, and how we're going to get to school and get home from school and do a job and balance the checkbook. You know what I'm saying? And make sure all the bills are paid. And I think you found time to give back to yourself, to have like this, exhale thing. I found my morning routine is like, if I do not take time to prioritize that and have a moment of peace, kind of gather yourself, I have to ease into my day now. But you have to learn that. And I think when you're first getting divorced, that's not your priority. Your priority is to make sure you're not falling apart, your kid's not falling apart, they're doing their schoolwork, they're not having emotional problems. I mean, you have so much stuff that's swirling that it takes about a year for all of that to kind of, the dust to settle, and you go, I can do this. I got it.
I find, so I'm an extrovert.
Really?
Like 100%. Yeah, I know.
We are
I'm
very
sorry.
shocked. Oh my gosh.
But in the last year, as I've been creating like that space for me, I have found that I need far more alone time than I ever did before. Even so, we were at my sister's pool on Saturday for a pool party, and there were 2 times during the pool party that I had to like just take a moment aside and just be like to the side for a second. They're like, "Why aren't you hanging out?" And I'm like, "I just need a minute. Just need a minute." And I've never really been like that before, but it happens to me every once in a while.
Well, do you
I just
think
have to
you're
like
just
time out.
Do you feel like you are just more yourself and are giving your space?
Yeah,
more,
and I don't
the ability to be more
and
yourself on
do
this
you
side
know
of
what
things?
else it is? It's not just that I feel more myself. I don't apologize for it. Like if somebody's like, "Oh, you're on your phone. We're all here," and I'm like, "Yeah, I am on my phone," which I don't do that very often actually. But yeah, I am. I'm looking something up. The end. Like
I think that's a whole new thing we need to talk about too. Giving yourself.
I don't.
You set boundaries for everything, but do you set them for yourself and for your quality time?
Well, I don't know about y'all, but I have reached a point. I don't apologize to anybody for the things that I need to do for me. Like if anybody has a problem with it, I'm like, that that's not about you. It's about me and what I need to do for me.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I have found that I apologize. I mean, if I have done something to hurt someone, and sure, but like, I don't say I'm sorry that you I don't know. I don't apologize for me.
Well, I think as Southern women, there are a lot of times that we apologize just because
it's true.
I may have inconvenienced you with this thing that's really necessary for me, so let me apologize.
Or not even necessary. I don't apologize for what I want to do. Right. If I want to do it, damn it, I'm gonna do it. It's my life, and I used to walk a fine line with that, and I don't do it anymore.
I think you touched on it. I don't know. Maybe some of our northern people can give us some feedback, but I think that is a southern thing, and I don't apologize for that anymore either. Mm-hmm. Like if I have hurt your feelings or I have inconvenienced you, I might say I'll say I'm sorry about this, or like I came in here tonight and I said, I'm sorry, I'm not in the best mood because I have traveled all day and I'm about to hit the wall. I mean, I know my limitations now, and I don't just know them, but now I'm starting to honor them.
Okay,
and give them space to be. I don't see it as a weakness anymore. I used to see it as a weakness.
Well, I think you and I have talked about this, Beth, when we have walked, is that at some point after the trauma we have experienced, all of a sudden there are things that used to mean so much and be so incredibly important that seem so incredibly shallow now, and we've just put them to the wayside.
Yeah.
Like it's like the trauma lifted this veil of that is ridiculous. I no longer care about that. I'm only going to care about the things that truly deserve my attention in this life. And I think you feel like we've all kind of experienced that a little bit.
And I think a lot of that, and I don't know if you feel this way, is I do feel like that happened, but I also feel like now, and maybe it's because I wanted my marriage to work, that I stayed an extra 10 years when, most of the therapists that we saw were like, hey, Beth, if you need to have me be your personal therapist when the divorce comes, but I feel like now, and I'm just going to say this is probably not going to be popular. Now I feel like, and I don't know if it's my age too, which might play into it. Don't waste my time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like I won't say I wasted 10 years, but every once in a while I feel like I did that because the writing was on the wall. But I wanted to give my marriage every chance. I wanted to give my kids every chance not to be from divorce. I didn't want them to have that trauma of being a divorced kid. But now, like even if somebody asks me out, or any other social commitment comes along, I weigh it like, is that really how I want to spend my time?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like I want to come with a disclaimer.
No,
you can ask me out, but if you do not have good intentions and you do not want to actually have a relationship or be my best friend, don't waste my time.
Yeah.
Do not call me. Do not text me. Do not tell me I'm beautiful. Do not do all those boy things that love bombing or whatever you want to call it, do not put, the full court press on me unless you actually mean to score in the hoop. That's my basketball analogy. I'm just saying, do not waste my time. I'm a certain age. I can see through your BS. I have lived, this is not my first rodeo.
Yeah.
Don't do it. My time, my stitching time, my painting time, my time with my kid, my vacation time are going to take precedent unless you are a worthy person to be in my life.
So I basically had the exact same conversation with somebody today. It wasn't about me actually, it was about them. But I said, look, especially the older you get, the more cognizant you are of how you spend your time and who you spend it with. And you get to decide that, and you don't have to apologize for it. And
you'll have to check it out.
No.
Is this okay? Is this good?
No. But I'll have people who'll be like, "Are you mad at me?" And I'm like, and I just respond, "No, I don't even." But it's because if they haven't heard from me in a second or what, no, I just I've got my life to figure out or to deal with, or I don't know. Anyway.
Well, but that's also. People not giving you space.
Yeah.
Having the grace to say, okay, maybe she needs a few days. Or, I'm sorry, Lauren, in your case, we just need to text you again.
Well, and we know, here's the thing. We know I'm terrible at responding to text messages because I have ADD. I am neurodiverse. And I will read the text message and answer in my head.
And we know
I've done that before, though, too.
But then I'll have people who are like, you didn't text me back. And I'm like, have you ever met me?
Exactly.
I probably didn't text you back. And then you know what'll happen? Like a week later, I'll be like, somebody texted me something. And I'll look through and I'm like, yeah, I didn't respond.
Or it's like me who does @Lauren. 2 days later, @Lauren. 2 days later, @Lauren. Hey, remember?
Yeah.
Remember? There's a point where you can think about it and think about it and then put it. Yeah. So I mean, but that's
on this same thing about
space.
Yeah.
Space. I have consciously gone through. I mean, some people chop people off their Facebook page for not agreeing with them. I don't do that. But on that same note, if you have those people that drag you down.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, I am doing the best I can to keep my head above water.
Yep.
I do not need anybody else tugging me down. I can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
I just can't. I mean, if people felt like they were drowning, like I felt that first year of divorce, they would not come at me with negative things and, why can't you do this? You used to do this. Why can't you? I mean, come on, dude. I'm not the same person that I was, and I am trying to exist and not just exist. That first year I tried to just exist. Now I'm trying to actually thrive and do the things that I really love to do and that have meaning for my life and in my life.
Or the things that I now have to do. Like yesterday I was like, Mom, and my mom knows how to do a lot of stuff. Like, my mom is very much a Southern woman who's also kind of a dude. Like she built my set. She built my set last week.
Yeah, I get that.
When I didn't have time to do it, I was like, who is able to do this? Mother, can you come build my set? So anyway, the other day I looked at my porch in my house. I was like, I need to power wash this. I was like, hey, what do I do? Like, tell me what to do, because I've never done that before. Yeah. But now I've got like a list of like the learnings, like the things I really need to know how to do. And those are things I have to create time for. Right. I didn't necessarily have to do that when I had a partner, but I mean, not that the house was power washed then, but I want my house to look really nice. Right. So anyway,
the responsibility falls
on me. But I'm kind of glad it does, because now I'll do it, because there is nobody else that I'm looking at going, when can we get this done? Okay. The learnings. Awesome. I just called it the learnings. Teach me the knowings.
But I think it's good. You're making a list of the things. Like, I look through my house and I think, what would make me happy in my house? And I have this list of projects that need to get done. They don't need to get done like next week. But they're in the back of my brain and they're prioritized. And how do I learn how to do them, and then I just teach myself how to do it, and I just do it. And I think that is when you kind of come into your own and you kind of grow in your, what would I say, knowledge of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And then you say, hey, there's no reason I can't do this.
Yeah. There's no reason. There's no physical reason. There's no intellectual reason. Mm-mm. All it is creating the time to learn it and do it. Right. And being consistent about it. Which is why, again, I'm giving myself a little bit of a break. Because I was grasping at straws the first 6 months. This last, like, I was like you said, barely keeping my head above water. And then it was just get to the finish line, get through this show, get through this show, get through this show, get through this show. Finally, the show's ended, and I was like, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
You know, that's how I felt the last few days.
So do you feel like for your first year of divorce, do you feel like you filled it purposefully with these extra shows? Like, did you take on more to try and fill that space?
No. It was something, we were fundraising at work, and so there was a lot more to do. And then I was committed to a couple of community things that were like tenure related, and like everything was work related. It's just that this next year I ended up without obviously I still have my work commitments, but we're not fundraising like we were, and then I'm not committed to directing anything at the community. So I'm at an interesting moment where I'm like, okay, but you're taking, if I can just be still for a minute and like hide. Let me just hide. Nobody asked me anything.
But you're taking this time during this space to make your lists and plan your things so will you take it like when you get busy?
I need to write my dissertation. So
there's that. Yeah. But when you start getting busy again, will you go back and look at this list and go, okay, I need to create time for this?
Yeah.
Like, how are you going to deal with it when things get busy again?
No. So when they get busy at job, I know how to deal with that. It's when my friend and I, my colleague at work and I were talking about the fact that we both juggle a lot of things, and we know how to do that because we've had to do it for so long. But the thing is, we know how to juggle things perfectly in the air. And if any of those plates spins out and falls, all of it comes crashing down. So I just want to like take a few less plates down so that if one crashes, I can keep the rest juggling, if that makes sense. And I'm going to be more cognizant of that going forward, because I did not have I don't want to tear up. I feel like my son and I made it through. We made it through the year. But I didn't feel necessarily successful do you know what I mean? Like I would want to.
I know exactly what you mean.
Like I would want to mother him.
That's how I felt like.
And so and my child loves what I do for a living. He loves coming to the school. He loves my students like they are his brothers and sisters. Like he was in the little play last week that we did as a result of the camp. And afterward, he was like, see you, Mom. I got to go see my people. And he like walks over and he's like, hey, guys. I mean, he loves it. And I love that he has that community and they adore him. But I didn't feel like we did the things that, like, I didn't feel like we started to create, like, the traditions that I want to do with him, or, like, just the little things that I want to make sure I have enough time with him for, because I'm busy. And I'm not sacrificing that. Especially when he's little. And that,
we did that too. I think we need to do a thing on creating memories and creating
new
traditions. Traditions. Because I thought that was very important.
We went to Disney together, and he loved that. Like we had a big time. That's always kind of been something that we do. But I just want to be a lot more intentional about the time I spend with him. And it not being just like, okay, he's with me this week, but I got to go to work. Like, I want to make sure that we're doing.
You want to create memories
like the second
with him.
year. The second year to me was that kind of year, because
all year I've just been like, just keep swimming.
I do want to tell you, and I felt like that too. I just want to tell you that when I think I told you, and we might have discussed this already. When I asked my children what they remember about that first year, all my daughter remembers about is coming home and I was there and we sat at the table and ate, or we sat on the couch and watched TV. She doesn't remember how crazy busy I was and how crazy I felt on the inside trying to take on this job and do everything and keep the yard. And she doesn't remember that at all because she was 9.
Yeah.
She doesn't remember that part. She just remembers that she had a house and her mom was always there to give her a hug. She didn't qualify my mothering. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was me doing that. And I think as moms, we don't give ourselves or even each other a break on that. Like, there's so much about, are you being a good mom? I worried continuously, and every once in a while I still worry about that. Am I doing everything that I can? And was it good quality time? But I don't think, kids don't think that way. And just from, my kids tell me, oh, we don't even remember that, or we don't even, do you know what I'm saying? They just remember the feeling, not the, So, and I think moms, just like you said, moms are really you're hard on yourself and how you mother. And especially, but you have to give yourself a break because you went through a trauma, he went through a trauma.
So that's why I'm feeling like a bit of a reset.
Yeah.
After, I'm like, all right, the foreseeable future is very manageable. Yes. So I want to make sure that, again, that I'm making that space. And it's space, it's not just for me, it's for him too.
Yes.
Yeah. So, anyway.
Well, you're responsible for him as a human.
Yeah.
And so you're responsible for, and you've said this before, that as a mom, you just want to create the best experience for your kid that you possibly can. That's one of your priorities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so all right, so I have one weird thing after divorce is that I do sort of regret not getting divorced sooner so I'd have that one-on-one time that I had with my daughter with my boys.
Yeah.
And isn't that kind of crazy? We wouldn't have been one-on-one, but it's like and I don't regret the time I spent in the marriage because I put it all in for 10 years like you did, Beth, just trying to convince him as an alcoholic and just kind of I didn't want any regrets in the end for me or the kids about trying to save my marriage. But I look at it now and knowing the end, it was like, if I could have had that time with my boys when they were little, it being me and them without the involvement of their dad, I would treasure that.
Yeah.
Absolutely treasure it. And instead, so my middle was a senior in high school when we moved here. And it's just different than having them when they're younger. And then so when both boys were off, I had this time with my daughter, and I wouldn't give that up for the world.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just different.
Yeah.
Creating that space.
Mine are 9 years apart. So it's almost like having firstborn children.
Oh, yeah.
So my son's experience in our household is vastly different than my daughter's. Now, I did have 8 years with him before she came along, almost 9. But it was a different dynamic because I was married. And when we got divorced, he was at college. Well, he was doing his gap year, and then he went to college. So the first 6 months of the divorce, he had just come home from 6 months of, his gap year.
Mm-hmm.
So his experience with the divorce and the shakeout in that first year is really different than my daughter's.
Mm-hmm.
And I do feel like he did not get mothering like I would have liked to. As much as you can do for an 18-year-old.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It just wasn't the same vibe when he came back. But, I'm glad he came back. I was worried about him coming back that 6 months, but it really was a good bonding for the three of us in the same house.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, now I did have that COVID brought all of my children back to me.
The joys of COVID.
But it was. All three.
I loved COVID.
Actually, not only did my 3 children live here, but I also got my niece, and
she
lived here for a couple of months. So I had. And it was chaotic, and there were way too many people in this house.
No, but that was fun.
But it was my most favorite.
That's probably their best memories.
We were basically all sheltering in place. We saw each other.
It was my favorite time ever to have all of them in my house. And I loved having them here. I loved.
Didn't you
loved
love
it.
just that I'm a stay-at-home mom again.
Yes,
that's what I had.
I love,
and I had time to garden, and we planned meals.
I gardened.
We played
I gardened the first time in my life.
We had so much fun.
Yes, COVID did provide us a lot of space.
That's
yeah. Well, and Lauren, I guess, did COVID gift you with your divorce?
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely when it started.
But that was, I mean, but
I just remember thinking, I'm going to have to just be in the house. Okay.
I could do.
What am I going to do? I painted.
Yeah.
Well, you played the piano.
I played the piano so much.
I remember so I would talk to her son porch to porch, like we were on different ships.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, stand at the railing, and we would have little conversations. It was so fun.
Oh man,
that's funny.
Okay,
well, this kind of goes to you were in COVID and you were forced to be together when it wasn't a good situation. Mine was when my son went to college. It just left my daughter and I at the dinner table, and he never talked. And I thought, take one kid out of this, another kid out of this, we're not going to have anything to talk about when she goes. It's just crumbling apart a piece by piece. And I would sit there and across the table from him thinking, I mean, this is not going to work.
Yeah.
So that was weird. But getting back to our topic, Bonnie, what is your space that you're taking for yourself? What is yours? Besides that physical space that's fabulous back there.
Your painting
studio space.
Well, so I'm sitting here thinking, so you, Beth, made sure when you were in the middle of the chaos that you took that 45 minutes or whatever you did in the mornings. You when you didn't have a space, you created yourself one.
I did, because I needed it, but more importantly, I craved it. Like, I thought, I can do anything if I have this little space of time in the morning. I can face the day. I can make it through.
Mm.
Okay. And you, Lauren, are working on, like, you have been gifted this space for a minute, and so you're working on your lists and trying to get things.
I don't go into production for anything for a whole month.
Oh, so that's great. So you're able, and you can kind of plan out what it is you want for you and your son, and make sure that you have the space for y'all when things start.
This is what I generally use is like major cleanup time. I'm doing like a lot of cleaning out. Just catching up on things that, because when I am in any production is priority, because it's going in front of because it's going in front of the public.
Yeah.
So a lot of things will go by the wayside. Now I've done a lot better at stealing those moments to do things because I'm in my house more often now, but just those chunks of time I don't really get to. So yes, that's what I'm doing right now.
Well, when I was in the middle of chaos, I stayed up till midnight or later. And it's hard for me not to continue to do that. So I would because I'm not a morning person, I would take that time to myself at the end of the day. I would get in bed with books. Like you could go up at any point in time and see me in the bed surrounded by 12 books. Did I read 12 books? No, but they made me happy.
That is the comfiest
that kind of
feeling.
Thing. Yes.
It is.
So I'd leave the television on, or I would draw, or I would just whatever. But that was what the time I took, was this time until midnight, until I hated letting go of the day. I would just accidentally fall asleep in the middle of whatever the things that I really wanted to be into that I didn't have time during the day. I'd surround myself with them, just kind of whatever. And now I still do that to an extent, but I'm trying really hard. When my daughter left, I was so afraid of empty nest and of that alone time that I spent all of the time I possibly could in the studio working on art, because because I overbooked myself on shows, because I had so many art shows I had to do, way too many, like I way overdid it. But so I spent all of that time in there. And really, I'm trying to spend my time in there now. I backed off on the art shows. I'm not doing quite as many, so that I'm giving myself the space in my studio to grow as an artist. I'm not just trying to produce work. I'm trying to really grow who I am as an artist. And so that has been my ADD keeps me, you get ADD paralysis,
Yes.
so it's like,
that's the worst.
just trying to
day,
push through that. But that's what I'm really trying to, is put myself back in there. And Beth, I want a morning and evening routine so badly, and I just can't seem to force myself to do it. But I want it. I feel like it would really, I'm trying to go to bed sooner, earlier, that kind of thing, but trying to create that space in the studio. But while my daughter is home, I'm trying to spend time with her.
Yeah.
And I realize my middle son is living with me right now, and I also realize he won't always. No. And I'm trying to really remember every single day that having him here is a gift, and to make sure I'm creating memories, even though he's 23.
Yeah.
That I'm creating memories with him while he is here, and he and I get into a groove at the same time.
Yeah. That's good. I think it's important to have your own space. I mean, I really think it is, even if you have to carve it out in.
Well, and that's so in this right now. I'm in this space where I am not interested in dating, and I'm not doing a whole lot outside the home. So I'm really trying to think about, like, how can I? We were talking about dating our houses.
Yes.
Like, what is it I can do in this house? Like, what, trying to think through my spaces and how I can really make them unique in my own.
I'm doing that too. I might have to rearrange, because maybe I have this thought that maybe I'm not using the space in my house well.
Oh, I know that I'm not.
The way that I need to use it.
Yeah, we have. So, if you have the space in your house, there's so many. Like, Lauren, you have really rethought your house and done a great job with what you've done.
Thank you. And it takes a lot of energy for me to do things like that, because I could walk in here and tell you exactly what needs to happen, but when it comes to my own space, I'm terrible at it. And I really just had to I don't know, I just got rid of a bunch of stuff. And so right now, anything that's clutter or anything that I don't want to have, I just
That's what I was telling Bonnie. I want to get a dumpster and put it next to my door and just pitch stuff in it.
If you do it, I'll just bring a wagon down every day.
I have so I've got these things that I was like, do I want to have a tag sale? Do I not? I'm like, Lauren, at the end of the day, you're not a 7 a.m. person. And also, I don't have a lot of huge furniture, and what I do, I'll probably put on
we just need to take it across the street when they do one.
Yeah.
No kidding.
But little things like that, I was like, I'm just going to donate this stuff. But I have, I had this espresso machine that was brand new that a cast gifted me a couple summers ago. But the thing about me is, I don't like gadgets. I order an Americano all the time. I'll go get an Americano. But I don't want gadgets at home I don't want that. Give me my coffee maker, and and if I want Americano, I'll go get one. So I knew I was never going to open it. And I was thinking about selling it on Facebook Marketplace, but one of my students is about to go to college, to transfer, and she's a barista. And I thought, I bet she would really love, and she's always making these little concoctions. And I thought, I bet she would love to have an espresso machine at her house to play with. So I just rehomed it, and it made me feel so much better. So, I'm really looking at the things that I own going, okay, I don't need that anymore, nor do I want it.
I have a desk in my studio, thanks to you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
I feel like we've run the gamut on definition of space, because in this conversation we've talked about space for ourselves, our physical spaces, and then making our home a safe space for our kids. But in talking about how our kids feel, that's such a huge part of it is that calm and that peace has to do with all of those things. That's why my house looks so good, is because now that it's set up, it makes me feel good in that space.
But that's sort of that, if mama's not happy, nobody's happy.
Yeah. No, that's not the truth.
So we got to get the mamas to be happy.
Yeah.
Take their space and get creative.
All right. Well, ladies, are you ready to tell us what you're going to do this week to live the life you love?
Yes.
Okay, Lauren, you have got the best.
So I'm going to the beach this weekend, and it's my first. I haven't been anywhere this summer, so it's my first little summer happy. So I'm going to the beach house with some buddies.
Toes in the sand,
and I'm just gonna relax and
have
good times. Fun. Can't wait.
So what about you?
I'm gonna have a down weekend. I think I'm gonna finish up. I've got this much more on the belt and I'm finished.
Oh, good. So you're going to stitch.
So I'm finished out. I ordered a new project because, I don't even have any at my house.
Okay, I'm sorry. You only have like a million projects, but you needed a new one. That's just okay. Yeah.
It's a tiny one. But I'm doing that, and then I'm spending time with my daughter because it's the last big weekend, the last big hurrah before school starts, and we're going to go get some things we might need. So I'm excited about that.
Okay, well, my daughter, she actually went to Barbenheimer with her boyfriend last weekend.
We're all seeing Barbie this weekend when we're at the beach, and we're all wearing pink and wearing Barbie wigs.
You should see my daughter's outfit that she got.
And then and then Oppenheimer, we're gonna. My boyfriend and I are gonna try to see it next week, but I can't wait to see that show. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, well, that's also she went with her boyfriend, and she said, "Mom, it was great. I loved them all." She said, "But Barbie is really a mom and daughter movie. Like, you and I have to go." She said it said, and I haven't seen it yet, but she said it said so many profound things about women and the role of women. Mm-hmm. And I really would like to go and see it with you and have discussions with you afterwards. And I'm like, oh, okay, that sounds great. So I think that'll be my happy.
Good.
That'll be fun.
So yeah.
Okay.
So, all right.
All right, ladies.
Yes.
Cheers.
Cheers. Excellent clinking, ladies.
Thanks.
Thank y'all for joining us for Champagne Sunday.
See you next week, girls.
See you next week. Yeah, cheers.
Have a good week.
Cheers.
Yeah,
cheers.